There's a few other things to take off this engine. The block isn't going anywhere. I'm going to clean up those surfaces myself right here. Usually those aren't affected. The heads are going to be sent off, so I'll rip that one off. You guys won't have to see that. There's nothing special about it. It's the same exact thing. I'm going to be changing the gaskets. There's two gaskets. There's a square gasket sealed to the actual block. So I'm going to be changing those out because that was clearly leaking. I'm going to change the oil pump. I'm going to change the water pump. So I'm going to go ahead and get the water pump taken out. I'm going to get the oil pump out. I am going to reseal the oil pan. So I'm going to have to get a gasket for that. I'm ordering all the parts tonight. So we should be, basically we're just going to be waiting on the machine shop to get their thing done. It's probably going to be a week or two. And then we can start rebuilding it. We got to, prep the block and everything. Get everything cleaned up, get those pistons all cleaned up. There's a lot of carbon on them. And then, yeah, just everything cleaned up. Get as much done as we possibly can. So before the heads get back, I can put on a new water pump. I can put on a new oil pump. I can do those gaskets on the oil cooler. I can put a couple of pulleys on for the timing. And that's really about it. And once you get your heads back, then you can start redoing everything. We took this crossover tube off, so you are going to want new seals for that. It's a coolant crossover tube. I believe every seal is the same for all the engines. Don't quote me on that, but you might even have a couple of them laying around from an old rebuild kit. I don't know if my rebuild kit will come with it. All 8 valves are bent on that head, and there's 0 contact on that. So I think they bent just in the perfect way to where they avoided contacting the valves. I still have no idea what the hell happened to this. It's a mystery. I just bought it. They said it didn't run. I didn't know why. It had 0 compression. I knew that. So yeah, we'll get to it, and here we go. 10 millimeter. Yep. So we'll start off with the water pump. This is a timing tensioner bracket. This is where the timing belt tensioner bolts into. There's 1 and then 2, 3, 12 millimeters. Let's go ahead and take that off just because it's going to make it easier to get this water pump out. It doesn't look like there's any Loctite on these. There is a seal that goes along here. If it's looking broken down and everything, this is the timing belt tensioner. If it's looking broken down, then go ahead and replace it, which this one's kind of eaten up here. So new timing belt, or the new gasket kit, comes with all that, so we'll get to that when the time comes. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this water pump. There is going to be a hose here that you need to pull, so 1 hose and 2 hose. And this is the thermostat housing that comes down here. I already pulled that off with the thermostat. So let's get those hoses off, and then we should be able to pull it no problem. Going to leave the side on the pipe on. I think I'm going to get a new one of these hoses because this one is kind of kinked and I don't like that. That kind of doesn't deliver the best coolant flow that you can get, so we definitely want to fix that. And so this is going to be done right, and the next person that has this car, hopefully they get a good taste of what Subarus can be like when they're actually taken care of and maintained well. A lot of people, they buy them without knowing about the timing gasket and or timing belt and head gasket interval. And then they get a sour taste in their mouth when it breaks because, it's been 100,000 miles. That's all these things can go. So I just don't like when people have a sour taste in their mouth of Subarus because these are good engines. They're great cars. They're safe. Some of them are really fun. So we got 1 hose off. You can do a lot to them. They're super interchangeable. I've got other videos on that with interior. They're just, I don't know, I love them. Ever since I got them, I've loved them. Had probably like 6 or 7 at this point. Maybe more. I lost count. So that's a trick with hoses, is you grab it and you kind of break it loose, get it to twist. Then you can get behind it, start prying it off. Alright, so that should be it. timing or water pump should come off. We might even take a rubber mallet and just tap it off. Don't use a real hammer, you're gonna break stuff. There we go. Okay, so there's one bolt holding this coolant line bracket to the oil pump. Take that off. I'm gonna put the bolt back in. Of course, there's coolant in there. I tried to drain out all the coolant and oil that I could before I got it on the stand because I really didn't want to make a mess. But I think that's inevitable. Okay. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 that you have to pull out. You can just kind of grab the bottom. You might have to hit it with a hammer too. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, I'm gonna take this oil filter back off. Okay, so this is where the oil filter goes to. There's I'll show you what it looks like. It's kind of weird. You got to get a socket on here and pull it out. All right, 24 it is. Not that tight. You can probably get that off with an impact. All right, so you spin this out. Okay, so it's this weird nut and bolt thing. This is what your oil filter threads onto. This is what threads into the block to hold this cooler up. This is our seal here. So it's like a square seal. And I was mistaken, there is only one seal on this setup. I think on the WRX there's 2. So it's like a square seal. You'll want to replace that, get this oil cooler cleaned up if yours is leaking. My goal with this engine is to basically have it not leak the slightest bit when I'm done with it. I'm going to get these lines cleaned up. I'm going to take the pan off. That's super simple. You just run around here. You pull your dipstick tube out, run around here, run around it, take this off. It's going to be a little stuck because there's supposed to be silicone in there. Pull your pan off. And when you get a new oil pan gasket kit, it comes with the pickup tube O-ring and all that kind of stuff. So you want to take your pickup tube out, put that new O-ring in there, make sure everything's looking good. I'm going to pull it just so I can verify that all the bearings look good, the main bearings and the rod bearings, just to kind of see what this the condition of this engine is, because I don't want to put brand new head gaskets, timing belt, and all these new seals onto it and then it be a crap block because I've never heard it run. Actually, you know what? I'll take the pan off right now. It's just a bunch of 10 millimeters. Okay, so that's all of them. And I'm hoping they used a gasket and there's not a whole bunch of RTV on this, but I think it might be not so lucky. So I'm gonna get a little pry bar out. Give her a little tap in. Okay. Sweet. I did get lucky. I mean, that was a very, very thin layer of RTV on there, so I'm gonna have to clean that up on the pan. It basically stuck mostly to the pan and not the block, so that's cool. So we got that off. Let's see in here. It doesn't look like there's any metal shavings in here. Just crap that's been in the engine. But yeah, if there was metal shavings and stuff in there, it'd be looking all sorts of shiny and glittery and gold in there. So I think we're pretty good so far. That's a good sign. Happy about that. Okay, so there's a few more 10 millimeters in here. You've got 1, 2, 3 for your oil pickup tube. Okay, pull that off. There's the O-ring seal right there. Definitely want to replace that. If you don't, you're going to leak and you're going to have low oil pressure. Not good for any engine. Okay, so then you've got your baffle right here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts in the baffle, all 10 millimeters. So you're going to go ahead and get those out. Okay, no shiny stuff on that baffle. That's a good thing too. If there was shiny stuff, it'd probably be in your oil pickup tube. It is a really good idea to go and get this stuff hot tanked, like that oil pan, the baffle, the pickup tube, just to make sure, you know, there's no contaminants in that engine when you, cause you're basically doing a whole new rebuild except for the pistons, rods, and bearings. But if those are all good, then it's still like a fresh motor. So it's a really good idea to go get those hot tanked. I really recommend it. Get the engine. You know, it does look like this engine wasn't taken the best care of. You know, there's all this gunk and crap right there that you can scrape off. That's just kind of how it goes sometimes. But we're checking to see if there's any bent rods, any metal in there. So far we're looking pretty good, at least that I can see. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy about this because this means I don't have to spend more money on rebuilding this, especially when you're trying to flip a car. You don't want to put the absolute most money into it possible. I mean, it rotates smooth. That's awesome. Let's look at the inside of our cylinders here. Oh, sweet. Okay, so that, see kind of those X's right there? That's called cross-hatching. We definitely want to see that. That helps keep oil up on the cylinder walls. For the pistons, that one's a little more faded, but it is still there. This tells me this engine's in pretty good condition. So, yeah, that's basically it for tearing down the block. You can leave those motor mounts on there. I'm using the light as a pointer. Here we go. So you can leave these motor mounts on there. They really don't need to come off. I mean, you can take them off. It might make it easier to put your pan back on after you reseal it and clean everything up. Before you reseal anything, you want to have very clean surfaces on both sides. So for this pan, you want this to be as clean as possible, and you want the pan to be as clean as possible. That's going to ensure you don't have any leaks, and it's absolutely the same concept on the heads. So that's why you take the heads and get them resurfaced at a machine shop, because they'll check them all, rebuild them if they need to, do what they need to do. So really it looks like I'm just doing a head rebuild. If I knew how to do it, I would. If I had the tools to do what I would, but I'd rather pay than mess with it. So that's kind of it for right now. I'm going to go ahead and get this other head ripped off, and then I'll give you guys an update, and then that should be about the end of this video. So stick around. Alright guys, so we got the engine torn down here. We're looking at, I really don't know what happened, because we did bend every single valve on these heads. So there's 16 bent valves here. But the miracle is that there was no collision with the pistons at all. These are interference engines. There should have been some sort of collision. So it's really a mystery what happened, but I am grateful that nothing crazy did happen. It doesn't look like I'm gonna have to replace this block. There is good cross hatching on both cylinders. I did rotate it. Do it for you guys. Yeah, just everything operates nice and smooth. So I'm really happy. I'm only gonna have to have the heads rebuilt, and that should be it. I'm hoping that they just have to replace the seals and the valves. They might have to grind down the valve seats and fix those. A couple $100 extra if so it might be a solid $500 to get that done. So I guess we'll see when the time comes. In the meantime, I am gonna order all the parts tonight. I got gasket kits coming, new head bolts, a bunch of different other gaskets, timing belt kit, just anything you possibly need, and I will link all that down in the description below. I get my stuff from partsgeek.com. It's not a sponsored video. I just think they have a good selection of parts for good prices, and they ship fast, and they get stuff here even faster. So yeah, it could be a solid week or two, maybe even 3 weeks before we get these heads back. So in the meantime, what I can do once my parts show up, I can prep all the surfaces so I can clean the decks here. I can clean all the silicone off for the oil pump, the water pump. I can get the oil pan prepped, get my parts cleaned up, like the windage tray, all that good stuff, valve covers. These should be fine. Just make sure there's no contaminants on them, like metal shavings or anything like that. From there, I'll probably do a video of resealing everything we can until we get the heads back. So that should be oil pan, oil cooler, oil pump, water pump, crossover tube. We'll just put those new seals in. And I think that's about it. Once we get the heads back, then we throw the heads on, do our valve clearance, set the valve lash, I should say. Obviously torque down the heads, put our valve cover and gaskets on, finish assembling our timing belt, put the timing belt cover on, and that'll make this engine basically ready to drop in. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is my first video of this nature, going this in depth with something. Like I said, there's a million videos on how to pull these engines. They're super easy. If you guys have any questions for me about it, let me know. They can be a little tricky. Your best friend, especially for the bell housing bolts when pulling it, is a wobble socket. It's this type of socket right here. It's basically a double jointed socket, and it can wobble one way or the other, basically in like a 360-degree fashion. And that's going to help you get behind the CV axles in the front without pulling those CV axles. You'll find these little tips and tricks and find these little tools that you need to help you do your job. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. If you want to see the rest of this series, go ahead and subscribe. We're going to be doing some pretty awesome things later on. Like for instance, I have a 1946 Chevrolet pickup that I am going to be restoring in the next year or two. So if you guys want to see that, I'm in a toss-up because I've thought about Cummins swapping that with a 12 valve. It would be fairly simple because there is an inline 6 in there already. I love the sound of the Cummins. They're super simple engines, and it'd just be something that probably no one has ever done before. So I would really like to do something like that. Let me know what you guys want to see, because really this channel is all about you guys as the viewers. I'm here to cater to you. You let me know what you want to see. I'll do my best to make it happen. So yeah, aside from that, I think I've covered basically everything. Just get organized, clean your parts, get prepared, get your heads off to the machine shop, get ready to rebuild it. And it should go pretty smooth. I'll do a video on those processes as well. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good one.